A lot of times we don't know what's happening, but I'm here in complete darkness, almost, and something going wrong with my camera. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Blathering. Live. We're a little late. I got stuck in an update circle of hell, which is kind of what life is about right now, where, you know, things are changing rapidly and you don't want it to change rapidly. And what change is not a bad thing overall when it's being shoved down your throat by ill will powers. That kind of is what I feel like right now. Everything was good. We're getting you ready for Blathering number 135. And I wanted to add a sound effect. I wanted to add the baseball hit. So if you got a good call, I'd say home run call. That started one update. I couldn't upload that to the Roadcaster 2 without an update. So I started to do that, but that kind of started freezing things on the laptop, which is not working as good these days. It's barely hanging on. This was gifted to me by Twitch supporters back in 2018. Thank you to those who were part of that back then. And it might be on its last legs. And that caused the laptop to go into a complete, we got to update everything. And then I did the whole like, well, what if we didn't? What if we didn't press the update button? What if we just did do that tonight? And 3 minutes before the show, everything went into what can only be described as full update failure. And now I don't even know if the stream's working properly, because on my end, it looks like I'm jumpy in here and that, which was not the case before the update started. So we are here. We're here. This is a fake. This is the Dutch Allen cigarette I was using for some voice acting stuff today. I just wish it was real. Smooth on your end, says everybody. Okay. On my end, no. So here we go. We're here for the night. Smackdown, Laser Bolt. It was. You're watching it happen, and you're like, "Oh, this is what happens. This is what happens when you press that button on the spaceship, and you're shot off into another galaxy." I was like, "Don't do the updates. Skip the updates." I could not do the sound effect. And by the way, the sound effect isn't on here. I'm pressing the button where the sound effect was supposed to be because I didn't get a chance to put it on there. And I'm just angry because the world's a messed up place right now. And Dave McKay says, "Yeah, you got Dutch Allen here, and you got Go Picture, kid. We're going to have a great time tonight." It's also, and people, I know, a lot of you make fun of us Californians when we talk about weather. My backyard is flooded right now. My front yard is flooded. My street's flooded. The rain's been great. It's concerning now. I just went out. You could we're having a little bit of a wet t-shirt contest here right now on me. You can see my little, those aren't bra straps, King's Workout. I just had to go out to unclog a drain in my driveway so my garage doesn't get completely tidal waved. It's concerning. We're at concerning levels and mudslide levels and mudslide warnings and everything going around. So there you go. Michael McCarson says, "I miss Saturday Night Knapsack." I miss Saturday Night Knapsack too. If Saturday Night Knapsack had been the thing that had finally blown up for me, I'd be doing only that. I'd quit everything, maybe even not forcing it. That's not fair to Joseph and Jennifer. But I think I put all my eggs into the Saturday Night Knapsack basket. Not a lot of people liked it. So that's what we're going to do. Svetnik, are you all out there going to catch a break? I don't know. I don't know if the air, I just saw some flood warnings come through. But I just stepped outside. And I got a friend back in, Rochester who is snowed in a lot of places too. But I just stepped outside because I was like, "Oh, it's been raining since like 11 a.m. It's been raining pretty solidly. Oh, look at the wind blowing." I like walking in the rain. I like just taking a stroll in the rain. And then my driveway gets flooded with the pine needles that I live under. I used to love pine trees until you live under about 3 of them that have been here in Burbank since 1944. So we're going to calm down. Yeah, 898 for went from no rain to all rain. But we are here. We have got we got help. Producer Steve checking in. I was gonna give producer Steve the night off. The football season's over. we're gonna maybe. I forgot to email you, Steve, but I'm glad you're here. Addie's gonna be here with 60 seconds of science. We'll do that towards the bottom of the hour. We're gonna. I think we're gonna do a good bad food. I think, right? Are we gonna do a good bad food? Are we? Yeah. Okay. I'm getting the Vulcan. I'm getting the Vulcan. What is that actually called? The Vulcan Death Grip. The Vulcan Nanu. I can do it. I could do it. And I'm friends with the guy, Kirk Thatcher, who at Star Trek 4, the punk on the bus, at Spock did the little Vulcan neck pinch on him. I'm friends with that guy. He's a great guy. So there you go. Abernathy says at least 2 of those reservoirs have a chance to refill. Yeah, there we go. It's crazy out there. We'll do a little bit of we get headline roulette coming on. I need to take a sip of my alcohol. We got. I want to talk about. And here's where I'm at. I want to thank everyone here in the Blathering community. I really do mean it. Monday night, we had so many calls. That the phone lines were flooded. There we go. Poor choice of words. I had so many slots open, and I know a lot of you people want to talk Kendrick Lamar and the Super Bowl, and those are big gets in terms of conversation starters. But we had more calls than we've ever had. It was wonderful. It was wonderful to be a part of, and that's all because of you. And I really mean stuff I said at the end of the show, and I mean it here. Right now, we're going to talk about this on Anytime with Ken and Olden tomorrow, which you can listen to on the Knapsack Network podcast feed, of course, if you don't catch the video version or don't want to see our faces, which I understand. We're going to talk about this week in particular, and just a couple weeks into this now, and this being since January 20th and Trump's second administration. It's so overwhelming that I do think it's hitting the point where you don't know what to do, how to process, and I think it's okay to cocoon. I think cynicism can be the danger. My Star Wars nerd is showing, yeah. I was going to bring up Robert Reich had a something, and again, all this stuff is easier said than done, and all of it can be platitudes that are dangerously inept. But I do think it's part of this community. What this community does here at the Blathering is we allow ourselves to take a breath. We go at things we want to talk about. I try to admit when I'm just kind of passing through. That's why we do headline roulette. We're not here to state anything as declarative fact when I talk about the news up top. We're just here to go through and plug in and pay attention. You guys come on a little bit later with more information. 60 Seconds of Science, great segment. Brandon Hannon talking about his stuff. But you guys are allowing me, and then therefore allowing the community itself here, the Blathering, to take that breath. We're gonna do good bad food here. We're gonna talk about an option for your food, and it's silly, and it's stupid, and it's pointless, and I want you to debate it in chat, and I want you to have fun, because that's what we all need right now. But also we need to plug in. But also Robert Reich, if you don't follow him, former Secretary of Labor under Clinton, has a company called Inequality Media. Great guy to follow. He's an old dude, but he's plugged into the young things there. He's hip, he's young, he's 80. He's got some great stuff out there, little YouTube videos and podcasts about wealth inequality, part of where he had always been focusing on. So he said this, remember, if we allow ourselves to fall into fatalism or wallow in disappointment or become resigned to what is rather than what should be, we will lose the long game. The greatest enemy of positive social change is cynicism about what can be changed. And I, as I said earlier, I also acknowledge that words can be really empty right now. Words can be really empty right now. I think it was I think Brandon from Fake Nerd Podcast, you're in the chat. Brandon, who, by the way, you should always be checking in and getting your QR code scanning this thing, bitching about nothing. Brandon McClure's Substack. Check it out. Entertainment news and opinions. Captain America's out. Go see for yourselves. Go see for yourselves. I think you reposted tonight when it was like Hakeem Jeffries is like got a sign, and it's like this is the kind of action we needed, and then the person responded to that by saying the making of the sign or something beyond that. I think I saw it because of you, Brandon. If not, I'm giving you credit, Brandon. Oh yeah, Robert Reich's son runs Dropout TV. Which is another channel that will no longer hire me. So good. I've not met Sam. But so we're at that point where we want re-election. We want legislation pushed through. We want all those things, but it's just it's beyond all that right now, and we're all drowning. And I do believe that we can touch that cynicism. We can touch that feeling of we're defeated and we don't know what to do, but don't stay there. It's like I talk about with depression too. No expert on this, but like I think there's some days when you're depressed, it's okay to just kind of sit in it, focus on it, let it go, and not beat yourself up for being in that. So if you're cynical right now, don't beat yourself up for that. Don't allow that to be your norm. We always talk about borrowing from the skeleton crew, looking for the pinpricks of light. Hey, absolutely. Let's keep looking for the pinpricks of light. And some weeks they're not as visible. We're going to have here a little after the bottom of the hour, Addie, our resident professor of smart things, is going to call on with 60 Seconds of Science. She's already posted online. It's a little bleak this week, and that's okay. But we're going to find our things. We're going to find our things and move forward. Yeah. Okay. Brandon, it was him. Yeah. Brandon, that was me. I'm just mad the Dems are mostly talk. Yeah. And there's some old school Dems, and maybe I've been late to the party on this and coming around on this. Old school Dems, Chuck Schumer, looking at you, who just, they're polite. They're polite. And I believe that's okay. I believe in our hearts the idea to be decent, to be polite. We're not sociopaths. That's part of the problem. It's like a friend said to me once about me trying to compete in this workspace. You can't succeed. You're not a sociopath. And meaning you're not up 24 hours a day studying YouTube algorithms. You're not willing to say horrible things to get attention. And while that's not the pattern of success for everybody, it's kind of in general a sweeping look at it. And I always laugh because here I am still trying. But I think a little bit of on the Democratic side, they're not sociopaths for the most part. Still not sure about Fetterman. So there's a pull to have tea with the person you just lost to an election, or the person you're handing the keys over to. That person probably at this point in time doesn't deserve the tea, but you're still going to hold to it, and it's hard. It's hard. So there you go. That's where we're at. But anyways, looking at Jared's excited for Cap 4. I think that's great. Addie, super chat. I'm beyond grateful for this community. Addie, we're thankful for you. It's a place for all of us to kind of come on, just kind of, I don't know, just kind of take a breath together. Be scared together. There's a lot of things I'm scared about. And then Jared, the TIE pilot. We love you, Ken. Also, DS9. I was so proud of myself. So proud of myself. While Grace was out of town, she's back safe. Which is something when you have someone you care for on an airplane now, you have to be a little concerned more than you did a little bit ago. Sad but true. She's back safe and sound. But while she was gone, I watched all of season 1 of Hacks, and I loved it. It's been great. I can't wait to finish season 2. I also started reading the first 3 chapters of Reign of Empire by Alexander Freed, the new Star Wars book that is so topical, that I was convinced Alexander Freed wrote it on Tuesday morning and somehow got the book out. It's insane. It's absolutely insane how topical that book is. 8984. Just want to say, also haven't seen DS9. Oh, that's great. Laserbolt, generous super chat, but so I'm gonna think about. I got to think about this one. Here's Laserbolt super chat, very generous Laserbolt. Hey, buddy, you've spent some time on the road before. Tell us your funniest road trip story. Is Ellis a good travel partner? I am gonna answer that, Laserbolt. I hope you can stay to the end of the show. But after sports, we got sports about 6 or whatever Steve's cooking up. I'll read his note here. We're gonna do super blathers. I'm gonna think of this. I'm gonna think of this answer as best I can. Also in chat, I put up the goal. I was testing out a system. I can create super chat goals now. I kind of, that's always a tough sell for me. I hate over asking for those things. They tremendously do help the community, but you're all part of the community, and you being here and you being a channel member is more valuable. As I continue to struggle through a lack of employment, your guys' support just in watching and liking the videos and being here means everything. Adding some colors to the questions, even more so. So sincere, heartfelt thanks for that right now. Like the video indeed, as Steve says. Producer Steve here. Mike Fink's checking in. Mike Fink and I are due a second breakfast here. Not a Lord of the Rings reference. We got to meet up soon to have another breakfast. It's hard, though, in the rain right now, Mike. Hope you're hanging in there. Okay. Looking a little bit here on headline roulette. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, and it continues to be not good. And one of the things two things on my mind. I am. I have to admit, at this point in time, I had kind of a busy day, which is good. It's good to have busy days. I was going to wear my Ukraine hat that I normally have. I am not liking what's going on with the Munich meetings, the calls to Putin, Tulsi Gabbard being confirmed, the person who Russia calls our girlfriend. It's concerning. It's concerning. We do have other countries rallying around Ukraine, ready to go to the meetings. Ukraine, President Zelensky have stood tall once again, not biting on the President Trump saying, give us some of your rare minerals and we'll help you. I mean, this kind of takes us back to, one of Trump's impeachments, right? Isn't it the first one? I lose track sometimes, to be honest, of them trying to blackmail Zelensky to get dirt on Biden's in exchange for weapons. And they didn't get those weapons because they didn't give him the dirt. And they had a tougher time holding off Russia in the early days of the war because of it. So that has to be concerned. But I also have to admit, I haven't taken that deep dive because it's okay to not do that right now. It's my grandma's home country. It is a country that has done everything on the front lines to keep a tyrant and his mostly ineffectual but large army out of other European countries. So it's key. I've always said I feel that theater of war is of more concern than any others, which is not to take away from any other causes or any other struggles or, I don't know, any other genocides. You shouldn't have to make a list. Gaza and Sudan, what's been going on the last couple of years, is equally as much a problem. But I think in terms of a bigger war, I've always looked at Ukraine as a precursor, perhaps. And that scares me. So what's going on in Munich scares me. Gabbard and Kennedy being confirmed is the other thing on my mind. And the Robert F. Kennedy thing, it might come up in Addie's 60 Seconds of Science. You could do 60 minutes of science just on everything Robert F. Kennedy Jr. believes. An executive order came out. I read through the executive order while I was trying to get to prepare for the show before the updates hit there and delayed the show. I look at RFK Jr. as a bigger example of the continued conspiracy mindset, which is something I want to continue to try to fight here with the platform I have, including a little segment I'm cooking up that might show up on the show next week. I absolutely believe the conspiracy mindset is something we have to be aware of. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says some things that make sense. Says some things that you go, oh, well, all right. But behind it is, I think, ill will, ill intention, an ill-informed nature. And it continues what's been going on with this Trump administration, even more than the first one, of all the trolls are in positions of power. All those people, all those friends at work that that you try to avoid, that you don't want to talk to, but they've always got a theory. They're always asking those questions. Those are the people in power now. And I think fighting the conspiracy mindset, even in things like pop culture, on why a movie didn't work, on plot details and scoops, hiding the fact that a lot of people are just in the pop culture world to be racist and sexist and worse and more. We got to talk that because that's part of the conspiracy mindset. I think early Star Wars stuff, Disney's trying to kill off legacy characters to stick it to George. Nah, they're not. They're not. But that became treated as fact in a lot of portions of the Star Wars fandom. That stuff has continued to explode out. We talk about it. I'm going to talk about it again. But watching Kennedy get confirmed was batshit crazy because he's batshit crazy. The Curb Your Enthusiasm cast text chain's got to be blowing up, and I'm sure Cheryl's not on it anymore. Mitch McConnell voted against Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Said, I will not condone the relitigation of proven cures. He said RFK Jr. spreads dangerous conspiracy theories about vaccines. He is known as an anti-vaccine propagandist. McConnell, don't forget, contracted polio as a child. Yeah, it was a thing. And he has argued against Kennedy's views. Reading here from Ground News. And he said, I will not condone the relitigation of proven cures. But Big Gay Mitch, if you had voted the other way when it came time to take care of Trump at the end of his, that whole thing, we wouldn't be here, Mitch. So, unfortunately, you got to reap the whirlwind, Sheriff Brady. But now, how are you going to fight? Mitch is saying some good things, but Mitch is now, his wife, right, is now on the board at the Kennedy Center Honors, which is a whole nother thing. Anyways, let's catch up. Generous super chats coming in. I really love you all. Box Office Jacks. I've been in a creative rut. Well, I'm not in a rut in certain places. I'm starting to write again slowly, and I want to thank you for the inspiration. But a question, I guess. What is a show, book series you recommend that isn't well known? Okay. You can think about that, and then we're going to come back to that. Box Office Jack, hopefully you can stay around, but if you got to leave, come back after 6 o'clock, about 6:15. I'm going to answer these super blathers. I want to give you guys the most respect. Michael McCarcel says it's almost like Turtle Mitch is an idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah. It's oh, I didn't know this. Mike Fink says, as someone who worked at the Kennedy Center for almost 5 years, that appointing shit is beyond the pale. Yeah. I texted my friend Mike Beatrice earlier this week. You know, Mikey's been on the show. He'll be on it again. It was just like, of all the things going on, and there's a lot of horrible things going on. Trump taking over the Kennedy Center, the people behind the Kennedy Center honors. Great Cyndi Lauper cover of Cher performed there a few years ago. Check it out on YouTube. Him taking that over. President's a point. It's part of it. Mike would maybe explain it better. Biden, a lot of these are Biden appointees, including, Ben Folds. Ben Folds has been on since like 2017, I thought he said. I don't know. I don't know all the details of how it works, and I try to own it when I don't know all the details. So it's not completely abnormal for a president to appoint somebody to the thing here. But it's just surreal. And Eli from Star Wars and Galaxy says the Kennedy Center takeover is one of the things that most scares me. Yes. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, Eli. Because I was texting my friend Mike, like this of all the things is perhaps one of the most batshitty. But in saying that, I mean, it's also kind of the scariest because this is this aggressive, trolly. The president of the United States is now the chairman of this thing, and he posted it and he said, "I'm going to do it," and they did it. And now, we can make our jokes about, well, cool, now Kid Rock is going to get a, Kennedy Center honor, or Sylvester Stallone, or, some country star singing about America. Lee Greenwood, I think it's on Lee Greenwood is actually on the board now. It's insane to me. Yes, and what Vermont Mike, who said he worked there, it's a nonprofit with small amount of government funding. 8 venues within the center. It's a national treasure and dangerously close to what happened in Germany in the 1930s. Yes. I know they don't like to use that word over there about that particular party that came into power, but they're following the playbook, as everyone has said. So that's kind of the headline roulette. And then the final thing is we have a president who works from home. We have a president who spends probably more of his time, at least, the weekends, at Mar-a-Lago golfing. And he had the audacity to come on the airwaves the other day and say that he believes no one who works at home actually works. And there's a lot of bigger issues in the world, to be clear. But this one just irked me. At anyone who has the conversation about working remote, diminishing your productivity, I get really upset. It's a small issue to fight for. Some jobs have to be done in the office. Hybrid jobs make sense to me. Meeting face to face over Zoom if you can, it makes sense. I don't fight that. But the office industrial complex, if you will, I say with maybe half a smirk, is one that just absolutely irks me. Maybe it's because I spent my whole life fighting against the idea of needing to have a 9-to-5 job. And then when I had one, which was also on call 24 hours a day for 12 years, 7 days a week, the idea of, and I had that job, I needed to be on site. I was managing the security of a site. But just the idea of you can't check your email, secretly look at your social media, and still hit your deadlines, and you can't do that at home is ludicrous to me. And it's also ludicrous that you can't see the results. Better productivity at home, and I love. We have a lot of disruption of industries that I don't love, but when I go for a walk here in Burbank, get out, go for a little exercise walk, the amount of office space for lease signs is absolutely something that makes me smile, because I had to deal with that in 2021. We were renting a space for GPA. There is a Burbank-based office space monopoly family that has the office space in Burbank and the greater surrounding areas. Rich as all get out kind of family. And the way they jack up the prices, the way they play, they're the kingpins. You should write a TV show about this, box office Jack. They're kingpins of Burbank office retail space and professional space, and they're being crushed right now because we learned during COVID you don't need everyone in the office. If you have to, yes. Garbage men, yeah, you can't work from home. Security people, like I was, yeah, that's the point. You need to be there. But everything, a lot of other things, scientists, I imagine you got to be in the lab, unless you can have a home lab. We'll ask Addie about that. Could you have a home lab? But accountants, CPAs, my accountant has never set foot in an office for the last 5 years. He doesn't need to. Anyways, of all the things, it's small, by the way. That one really got me. That's just kind of where we're at. All right. I've talked for far too long. Thank you for listening to me. Let's get to the calls. I need you all tonight. I need you. We'll get 60 seconds of science here. We'll get to sports, but I think we're going to start with Jared. And I think, Jared, let me get my graphic up. We might be doing good, bad food. Let me figure this out. Jared, you're on the show. I'm going to bring you up on camera if you're ready to do good, bad food. Okay. Well, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
I've had better lives, but I'm here.
Fucking same.
Yeah, that's what I love about you all here. Because my whole life, my whole career has been about coming on and saying, "Hey, I'm in a bad spot," or "Here's something stupid I did," and finally, being able to connect all of you as an audience to be like, "Yeah, we're all in a bad spot right now," and it feels good to be around other people and get through this. All right. But Jared, do you want to do good, bad food?
Oh, I'm like I said in the message, I'm good for either tonight or Saturday. So.
Okay. Tell you what, I'm going to make a call here, Jared. Let's do it Saturday. Let's do it Saturday because I really liked your idea, but let's not. I don't want to do this on the fly because I want to be able to clip this out. And yes, everyone, I'm holding the fake cigarette the entire show. Don't question it. Just go with it. So, Jared, we're going to go with your good bad food, but for Saturday, can you tease it to the audience what it is?
Sure.
Try to tease it.
That's why I'm holding here. I'm like, oh God.
I'll tease. Yeah. Go. I
was gonna say there's a couple of standards in life for some people in this meal, where that standard is just a big no.
That's beautiful. You are. We talk about disruption, which equals usually destruction. You are disrupting an American standard, and I can't wait for people to hear about it. So Saturday, that's our tease. Good, bad food, Saturday with Jared, the Type Pilot. There you go. Okay. All right. There you go. All right. Beyond that, what's on your mind, my friend? How can I help you? Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Well, shit. Hang on.
Yeah. Okay. I've thrown a wrinkle in your existence. I have. I totally have.
No, that's okay. It happens.
It happens. Some weird dude on the internet completely messes up your train of thought.
Tell you what. Let's keep it going with House of Dragon. What are you excited for season 3? Is it more machinations, or are there certain deaths? Not without spoiling, certain deaths or battles more specifically.
Yeah. Season 1 of House of the Dragon, solid. Loved it. Brilliant performances. But we zoomed through the younger versions of the characters. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with the characters. I felt disconnected. I remember even on the rewatch I was doing, prepping for season 2, I was like, wait, what character is that? That's a different actor. And I'm not like that normally, right? Like anytime back in like 2011, somebody like, I like that Game of Thrones show. I just can't keep track of the characters. I'd like slap him. I'd like give him one of those. It's pretty easy. But House Dragon. So we move past that. We spend time with the cast in season 2. They get to spend time with each other. We move the ball forward. And as it turns out, because of some HBO machinations and some meddling, we ended on, I'll just say, a little bit of a blue balls kind of ending. I liked the ending, but
That's
it
a
was
good
like,
way of putting it.
we were right there, and we wanted to explode into a big battle scene, and we didn't get that. Later, we find out, yeah, we kind of maybe have wanted to end with that, but some episode numbers changed and stuff. So that's what I'm looking for. It's not just action for action's sake. This show, this story has a lot of that Game of Thrones kind of slow simmer, and that's great. That's what I love about it. But we're ready. We're ready. We're ready to explode. I think this story more than even Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, like is built for simmer, 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 explode, and let's get to some of the juicy stuff. Maybe literally. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I would definitely say the same because there's just within these battles, big moments happen that they can really zoom and make a quiet moment in the midst of the chaos.
Right.
And also to applaud Alden and Andy's good work on Casterly Talk side. They did a big book spoiler talk, and I like the idea that they had for the big confrontation that we definitely want between, classic rock and punk rock being the opening for a season 4. I was like, oh, that is a beautifully cinematic way to open what might be the last season. We don't know for sure, but rumors are a 4-season show.
Yeah, rumors are. Yeah, I think 4 makes sense to me, and I kind of like that. And we got this year. We got the Dunk and Egg series. I'm so excited in the way like I just haven't even thought about that series. Like, and that's what I kind of. Yeah, I was built. House of the Dragon anticipation was building for a while. Blood Moon was unfortunately gone, but I still would have liked to see that. But yeah, I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for Dunk and Egg. So, and I think that's. I think it's fair for you to harass Alden on line to get him to Casterly again.
Oh, God, yeah. No. Him, Andy. You also need to find where Rachel's been avoiding us. living her best life.
I can confirm. I saw her at a Mark Riley party. She is living her best life offline.
I really hope so, because she is a very, very sweet person.
Yes, absolutely.
Sam, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. He's a Cubs fan. Jared, you pivoted like a champ. You pivoted like a true broadcaster there.
I used to do a little bit of reporting for Comic Cons and stuff back in my day. I'm used to drunk celebrities.
No, you pivoted, and I'm a drunk celebrity, at least a drunk.
Well, hey, drunks go to meetings.
That's true.
I am just a taster of fine beverages.
That's fair. That's I taste as well. Jared, thanks for calling in tonight. We're gonna get to some science, but I appreciate you pivoting, and I'm looking forward to good bad food with Jared, the TIE pilot.
One quick last thing about your lighting situation. I love it tonight. Why? You feel like one of those old radio guys who get on nice and quietly. How you doing, guys? Tonight we're gonna have.
But here's the problem, Jared. It wasn't like this before the updates, and I didn't do anything to it. It's not supposed to be like this. I don't know what happened.
I know it's not, but don't get me. But listen, it's sexy. I think it's good.
Maybe, yeah. It's like I'm even trying to like crank this light up a little bit, and it's a little better. A little better.
Get to Addie so she can blow our minds.
All right, there you go. Jared the TIE pilot, check it in there. We got calls coming in, 898-4M. We got Svetnik calling back. But I think it's time, if you all don't mind holding on, I think it's time to do some science. Addie, welcome back to the show. We know you had a great loss in your family. We sent our well wishes before, but we'll do it here now. Much love to you and yours, and we're happy you're here now.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. I'm up and not crying. That's the best we can do these days.
Up and Not Crying sounds like a U2 B-side from 1998 that we needed. That's great. I love that.
It's a common reply in Norway to the question, "How are you doing?"
That might Hold on. You just might have made. I always like to redo the thumbnails after the show to talk about what's going on. Up and not crying. I like this. I'm going to make sure I get that right. And that might be the theme of the show for those who watch later, because we're all there. Addie, anything on your mind before we launch into 60 seconds of science?
I've been saying it for about a week and a half now, but I will. The refrain has been: grief is complicated. It is messy. It is weird. Families are weird.
Mm.
The world is weird.
Yes.
I don't know. I've been on a book buying spree. That's been how I've been coping. I've just been buying books.
Absolutely love that. It's been a while. I was so happy that I took time out yesterday. I'm going to take time out tonight, because there's no full-time job quite like being unemployed from most of your work. This is part of my employment, but like it's I'm really busy being unemployed. But I sat down and just to pull, to read that Reign of the Empire book, which was really good, but it's really almost too spot on. But it felt good, so I'm glad you're in a book mood.
Oh, that one's going on my list. I noticed it's not available to the public yet, but it's going on my list.
Is it not available to the public? Yeah, maybe it's not. Did we get a review copy? Wow. Okay, it came the other day. I feel special again.
The release date says it's the end of this month.
That makes sense. Force Center had kind of been removed by a lot of lists, so I was happy. Maybe I'm just happy and surprised I'm still on one. All right, but with that, we got some questions, by the way. If you're in chat, I got some super blathers coming. I've got some questions. I have favorited Rich T with a good one there about comedy. But with that, we are going to launch into 60 seconds of science with Addie, our resident professor of smart things. She's going to lay down all the science stories, and then we're going to choose one, maybe two, to go into more detail on. Addie, take it away.
Okay. NOAA has reported that global surface temperatures last month were 2.4 degrees Fahrenheit above the 20th century average, making January of 2025 the warmest January on record. Arctic sea ice coverage was also below average, ranking the second lowest on record. Recent seismic activity suggests the Earth's core is changing its shape. Unfortunately, it won't be catastrophic. Researchers at the Oregon Science and Health University have developed a blood test that could detect pancreatic cancer sooner. This type of cancer is usually not detected until it is spread. The Howard Hughes Medical Institute, the nation's largest private funder of biomedical research, abruptly killed a $60 million program across 104 colleges and universities meant to encourage systematic and sustainable changes to draw underrepresented groups into STEM. The foundation offered no explanation for terminating the 6-year program on its third year of funding. And uncertainty in research funding continues. The NIH has announced plans to dramatically cut indirect funding and grants, which could lead to a higher education budget crisis and will lead to a lot of jobs lost. And President Trump may propose to cut the budget of the National Science Foundation by 2/3 and lay off nearly half of the 1,600 member staff. This would destroy the agency as we know it and dramatically change science research in this country. And that is 60 seconds of science. Where would you like to go, Ken?
To Mars. Or Norway. There's a lot there. I want to start with what might be considered somewhat positive, though in a time where funding and research is being stopped and there's so much uncertainty in the scientific field, particularly cancer research. I want to highlight the pancreatic cancer one and know more about it if you have the information. That's something that is probably close to a lot of us. A good friend of mine lost his wife quite rapidly to that a couple years ago. Many of you might know Paul Preston, and it was horrific, and it was horrific to kind of see happen to such an angel of light in this world. So I want to start there and to see if we can mine any pinpricks of light from it.
So, from what I know, the problem, as it were, with pancreatic cancer is that pancreatic cancer begins in the ducts of the pancreas that secrete enzymes used to digest food, but it's often, you don't have recognizable symptoms until it has metastasized. So that is why pancreatic cancer can be so deadly, is that it is not discovered early. It is very hard to detect early. And so what the team at OHSU in Portland, Oregon has developed is a test that can detect these enzymes
Mm.
and the levels that they are at, allowing us to be able to tell how I'm guessing like how well your pancreas is functioning
Mm.
to be able to determine that there might be problems earlier.
Mm.
Um, they're using nanosensors to do this.
Okay.
But the nanosensors will be about a penny per test, meaning that not only is it a very good tool, it will be a very good tool in rural and other
Mm.
resource poor settings because
Okay.
it is so cheap. So not only here in the US, but globally, it could make a difference. And so the next step will be that they are trying to launch clinical trials of this. So
Mm.
they've only been doing it on archived blood samples. So now they need to do it in
Uh,
live humans. Um, and then they also want to try and apply the approach to other forms of cancer, such as cancers of the GI tract,
mm.
that are also frequently not detected soon enough.
Mm. So all I'll say sounds good in a general sense because none of what's going on right now is good. But this is one of the stories you hear and you read and you kind of go, well, this sounds hopeful. Is that misplaced in a lot of ways from a layman like me, Addie? We joke you're a professor of smart things, but how do you see this story? How do you take it?
I see it as a good thing. A lot of these things frequently aren't translatable. Like you discover something that could work, but it actually will never have the biological application that it's implied that it could have. This
Okay.
admittedly is out not in my wheelhouse, but it seems like it could actually be a thing.
Right.
Um, so I am cautiously optimistic. Now, of course, going through clinical trials, a lot can change.
Right.
Getting approved for clinical trials, getting the funding for clinical trials, but it,
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think it's a good thing.
Good. Oh, yeah. And I ask because yeah, it's sometimes you want to find what's actually the truth or maybe the truth behind the story. I dropped in chat on all the forums, Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, a link, pancan.org, Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. Is something I'm connected with in the sense of I've signed up and get notifications on there. I've donated in the past. If you or anyone you know is facing pancreatic cancer or have lost someone to it, which is at times sadly likely, it's a great organization to kind of plug into and donate as well. So pancan.org is in the chat. Addie, thanks for that answer. You say not in your wheelhouse, but I'm starting to believe that all of science is your wheelhouse.
Oh, I'm just good at reading articles.
That's just, let me tell you something. I'm
And
bad at reading articles.
and the people at home won't be able to see this, but Ken, I
Yeah.
leave them up on my computer screen.
Oh, how many tabs do you have open?
8, but only 6 of them are related to the things I talked about tonight.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. 8984 Adam says reading research papers is a skill as well. Final thing. Well, I did see the Earth's crust or the Earth's core story, and that's a headline that reads like a Michael Bay movie script where you're like, whoa,
It
what?
really
That's
does.
that's not good. But the easy translation on it is, don't worry about it, or not in our lifetime. But we're also experiencing a lot of things right now that you used to think, that's not going to be in our lifetime, and now it's here. So are you certain, Addie? Your word is God to me. The Earth's core is not going to implode.
From what I read, it is not going to implode. It is changing shape, which is apparently a thing that happens.
Mm.
And the changes of the biggest thing that I took away from this article when I was reading it earlier is that changes to the inner core's rotation can affect the length of the day.
Okay, so I did see that. Please tell me it's going to be a little shorter because I just want to get to bed.
I honestly have no idea, but from what I understand, this whole thing is just the way that they discovered this through the seismic activity just means they're going to understand the Earth's core and how it relates to the other parts of the Earth better, and just
Mm-hmm.
like a better
Mm-hmm.
understanding of how the Earth works in general, because like the Earth's core is the part we know the least about,
Yeah.
because obviously, unlike Michael Bay movies, we can't go there. Um,
You don't know. We could send Steve Buscemi and Owen Wilson down there. That's all we need. You don't know that.
so, but like, yeah, I was going through it earlier, and I was like, is this like the asteroid story from a couple weeks ago, or is this
Yes.
another way we're all going to die?
Which?
And unfortunately, like I said,
No. No. Okay.
unfortunately, it won't be catastrophic. So
Yeah, I'm with you. And yeah, update on that asteroid story we talked about on the show last week. Like it went from like 1.6 chance of hitting the Earth, 2.2 to 2. Like enough to where I'm like, all right, this has got to stop. So I don't know what. Maybe this week it's 3.2.
it won't be. And I was talking to one of my astronomy coworkers earlier this week. It's not a planet killer, unfortunately.
At 8984 in chat says Hank Green says we've built bigger bombs than the asteroid. Yeah, I actually watched that Hank Green video. I don't watch all of Hank Green stuff, but I saw that. And also, by the way, I'm going to bring up some comments here. Then I want a final story. It's a preppy idea. I want to hear a little bit more about the funding and all that stuff and kind of where we're at. It is bleak, like you said. But I got 8984 says things don't implode. Again, you don't know that. You don't know that until it happens. All right, Brady. Okay, don't throw your science at me. I'm a comic. The Earth's going to implode. That's a worry I have. Just. Michael McCarsell says this sounds like what Jor-El tried to warn people of Krypton about. Yeah, that could be. See, that could be our problem. 8984M. So there you go. And then yeah, Rich T has a jokey. He's making a joke here, but I love it. Earth's core is changing shape, so will it become flat like the flat earthers want? I had that thought too of like, are we going to be an egg now? Is the Earth going to be an egg? Is that what's going on?
I honestly have no idea. Like I read it and I was like, it's changed. I need more information. What does that mean? Like,
well, see, what I love about this exchange.
You say that so casually, nature. Like, what does that mean?
This is why I love having Addie call in and love this segment. That, by the way, she just pitched and did herself here. Of it. This conversation between you and I, Addie, is someone I want to learn. But this is as if you sat down at a truck stop diner somewhere in some long forgotten dusty highway, and I'm just there asking nice questions, but I don't understand anything. Are you saying the Earth's gonna be an egg? Are we an egg now? And you handle it like a champion.
It's because it's what I do for a living.
I can't be worse than your students. That you make into all-stars. Final thoughts here, though, Addie. Yeah, we're hearing a lot of this: the funding, the cancer research being stopped, all these things, the layoffs, the jobs. It's slapping us upside the head like a fish in a Muppet sketch. So, where are we at right now? What's the news there? And are there any pinpricks of light?
Other than people suing over these things, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to explain a little bit of what I was talking about with the NIH, to be fair, I have no idea how much of I have no idea how much of these stories actually make it into the mainstream media. So I have no idea what actually makes the news. I am unfortunately part of the problem in that I don't watch the news. I get my news from other sources, so I
think that's fine.
I don't know what is being talked about, but I did want to explain at least the first part of the NIH thing that I talked about of what indirect funding is.
Okay.
So when people write research grants at universities, there is this thing called indirect. And what it is it's a certain percentage of the amount of money that you're asking for goes directly to the institution that you work for. So like if I write a grant, let's say I write $1 million grant, 40% of that goes to the institution.
Okay.
And then 60% of it is for my work.
Got it.
Let's say I'm making up numbers. But and that indirect funding is used for a number of things. It is used to pay for all of the research infrastructure. So the building that my lab is in, my lab itself, keeping the lights on in my lab, the water bill, like all of those things that the university pays for gets paid for with indirect funding. But
Got it.
also smaller initiatives at the university will get paid for with indirect funding, like seed grants or travel money for students to get to go to conferences and present on the work they're doing, or just little pots of money that help make the university go. And university budgets rely on a certain amount of indirect funding to help keep the university afloat, which is why I said this is going to lead to another higher education budget crisis,
Mm-hmm.
where they're going to have to make up for the windfalls somehow, and that making up for the windfalls is going to be through raising tuition, which is going to make
Right.
higher education even more
Mm-hmm.
unattainable. It's going to make the student debt crisis even worse. Like, it is going to balloon and have the trickle down
Mm-hmm.
problems of so many things. In addition to that, this indirect funding pays for a lot of people's jobs. It pays for a lot of people's salaries. Like, certain
Mm-hmm.
positions within the university are funded entirely through indirect funding. Those jobs are going to be lost.
Yeah.
And people are going to lose work. They're going to lose the health care that they have because of that work. Like, it is going to be a crisis. So the NIH doing that, combined with the NSF looking at a previous $9 billion budget going to a $3 billion budget, which I know, saying billion with a B, it sounds like a lot of money, but
Mm-hmm.
people like myself, I was looking earlier today, there is nowhere else to get research funding from.
Yeah.
The NIH and the
Yeah.
NSF are two of the largest funding mechanisms for scientific research in this country. Private foundations don't even come close. They don't have the capacity, they don't have the means, or they have such specific interests that people like myself can't apply for them.
Mm.
So this is going to be catastrophic for the scientific community in this country. It is going to be devastating. It is going to ruin a lot of careers.
Mm.
I'm currently selfishly very worried for myself.
Mm.
Um,
It's not
and
selfish. It's a concern.
what's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen to my career. I left a tenured position to come to where I am and get tenure again, and I am
Mm.
second guessing that decision because I had job security and I
Right.
don't anymore, and I have no way of funding my research.
Mm.
Um, we can debate whether or not taxpayer money should be funding scientific research in this country. That's fine. Let's debate it. But in the meantime, can we not cut it off?
Right.
Like, can we have the debate without
Right.
also crippling science in this country? Um,
Right.
And the last thing I'll say is, I not to feed into the conspiracy theories because I don't want to hear hoof prints and claim zebras, but I cannot help but wonder, is this a we have no idea what we're doing move, so we're just going to slash everything?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this a calculated move to cut the intelligence of the American population?
It might end up in the same bucket, right? It's sliding down there. Yeah, and everything you're talking about trickle down effect, and hearing you describe all this is true. It's not trickle down economics. This is a trickle down effect where a lot of people aren't going to get the education. It's a lot of probably underprivileged people who wouldn't normally have access to jobs, research grants, all this stuff. Scholarships are not going to be able to move on. And who knows what that means? The cure for all diseases could be in the minds of one of those kids who now doesn't have a path forward. So whether it's careless, and I would choose to think that some of it's just absolute own the libs, fight science. We're here to take back America, make it dumb again. It's a wrecking ball, and at the end of the day, the building's destroyed. That's what's scary. That's what's scary.
And I've read things, and again, I don't know how much catastrophizing people are doing, but I've read things that say that, like, American science will not recover for a generation from what is
Right.
happening right now.
Right. Brandon Hanna says, Addie for president. I don't know if she wants the job, but she has my phone. Addie,
I just want to know if we're great yet. That's all I want to know.
we're getting there. We're all going to have brain worms, and it's going to be great. Addie, I appreciate it. Like a great NFL quarterback, you're standing in the pocket, even with the pass rush around you. And I appreciate you explaining some things. A joke about me being a dumb lunk at a truck stop, but this is heady stuff that's easy to gloss over and easy to see, especially with all the other things going on. This is scary stuff. We're going to continue to look for hope. We're continue to look for ways to fight it. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing this as always.
Of course. I'll keep an eye out for some more ghost stories.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to some fun ghost stories. If anyone gets ghost stories, we're gonna get back to you. Have you ever had a picnic with Bigfoot? I want to hear it here on the Blathering. But for right now, we're dealing with science, the Earth's core changing, and a whole lot of stuff. So, Addie, thank you. All right.
Anytime, Ken.
No, that's my show with Alden on Fridays. I almost said Saturday, which is not the time. Now, Addie, everybody, our regular professor of smart things, give her a follow. Link down below. I'm going to put in on the show afterwards. And when I clip this out here, and there we go. Laservolt says everyone gets a brainworm, and if your worm starves to death, you get a grant. Yeah, there you go. We're all getting to that. We're all getting to that point. Jared's promising New England ghost stories. We're going to do a ghost story night here. Oh, by the way, I wanted to, our buddy Adam Knight is here. Adam Knight, of course, is the author of the Overdrive series, and I want you to check this book out. Help an artist out, won't you? It's available Amazon, wherever you get your books. Adam, do you sell them from a website personally? I try to sell my books. I would love to sell about 4 copies of Why You Love Star Wars this weekend if anyone wants to buy. Adam Knight's Cowboy, and check it out. But I did want to say, since Adam Knight is live in chat, folks, we do have ourselves a Canadian here, and that's the enemy. We're going to dominate Canada and make you the 51st state. Adam, are you ready? Are you ready for American dollars in your weird restaurants with your poutine? It's coming. Brendan Casey says, my dad used to tell me great ghost stories from Northern Ireland. Oh, Brendan, I want to hear those ghost stories. All right, here's what's going on. We got some sports coming up. Brady, hang on. Ethan, a.k.a. Osvetnik, hang on. I want to hear from you all here. We're not leaving. Usually we go a little longer on the Thursday shows. And I want to thank you all for hitting my chat goal. I wanted to see how this chat goal works. I put a goal for super chats out, and we hit our chat goal. I really appreciate that. Honestly, and great questions and generous donations. Laserbolt, 8984M, Jared Tide Pilot, Addie, and Box Office Jack. Really appreciate what you've done today to help the channel keep going. We are going to get to those questions in a little bit here. 52nd state, Greenland is 51st. That's right. No, Hillbilly Scribs, Greenland, remember, it's red, white, and blue land once we take that over. Yeah, Adam, I remember the War of 1812 like it was yesterday, Canuck. Also, I want to highlight Hillbilly Scribs. We got to get Hillbilly again on the show. Jeff Saunders. Jeff Saunders is like, I don't know if I believe in angels anymore. I've been having some good conversations with God this week, so I'm prepared to say I'm not on Team Organized Religion, but I'm on Team something. But Jeff Saunders is an angel on earth, and his work with kids who are fighting the biggest fight with cancer and children's cancer research. He's got his annual shave-a-thon going on with the St. Baldrick's Foundation. So Jeff, if you have a link available and want to drop it in this chat for anyone willing to donate, do so. But also, we got to get Jeff on the show to talk about it. Yeah, if it wasn't for the War of 1812, I'll be speaking French right now. You know what? I wish I could speak French, because then I could just go easily move to Paris. All right. It is a little bit after the top of the hour, which means we are gonna, I don't even know what to do. I'm excited. I don't know what producer Steve has planned, but producer Steve, you're here. I'm here. What's on the docket tonight?
Football's over, Ken. I don't know what to do. Do you just want to put me on ice until September?
No. I was here's actually how my day. Actually, no. Yesterday would be Wednesday. I was like, ooh, I should email producer Steve and say, hey, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? But also, here's some, what should we do going forward? Because I want some sports to continue, but also Steve's so good at just good, like morning radio what ifs. Like, hey, what if would you rather gnaw off your leg or your wrist if you were stuck in a rock? Like, he's good at that kind of stuff. And the answer is just die, by the way. So I was like, I'm going to email Steve. And then about 4:30 today, I was like, I never emailed Steve.
It's okay. We can have like a mini production meeting on air here. That's kind of what I called in about anyway. But I did just want to in case you did say, I mean, I have my things here, so I'm going to say this anyway. In case you did say yes, Steve, I want to put you on ice until September. Here's what I was going to give you as my plea to say, please, no, keep me around.
Okay.
So here's what I can bring to the table.
Okay.
I feel like I have a pretty good chance at like making fire by myself without tools. So I think that's a good marketable skill.
Okay. Great.
I can juggle.
Ooh.
I know how to cook. Like I can make a pizza from scratch, and I've absolutely crushed my last 2 Thanksgiving turkeys.
Number one ingredient you add on your home pizzas?
Oh, just the perfect sauce. It has to start with the best sauce. None of the toppings, literal extra stuff matters if you don't have a good sauce and cheese base.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. Love that.
I can wake up without an alarm clock on command.
What? What? How?
Yeah. Just tell me, hey, Steve, you have to wake up at 9:45 tomorrow. I'll be up at 9:44.
Okay, but is this like what do you do? Like
no, it's just my brain. I tell my brain, yes.
I don't believe this. You hear tale of Native American warriors who knew they had to fight the next morning. And they'd drink a lot of water so they'd wake up my prostate can't handle that. And I remember reading that and thinking, well, that's ingenious. That's amazing. How you just program your brain, Steve?
It's all up here. It's all up in the noggin. I just tell if I have to wake up at 7 a.m. I mean, having a baby now helps because she'll wake me up anyway. But
sure, that's
if I have to be up. I mean, this has just been a thing my whole life. Like, right, even as a kid, like going to class and stuff. I was never like a kid that was like late to class or anything. If I had to wake up at 7, I would just tell myself I have to be up at 7 o'clock, and then I would wake up at 6:50.
Look, I want to study this. By the way, you're talking to pal. Margaret Harlow's attendance award-winning student from like 2nd to 5th grade, okay? I didn't miss a day. I clocked in and clocked out. All right, Challenger exploded. My mom pulled me out of school. I was back the next day. All right? I'm with you on that.
So, but yeah, so I'm glad you said no though, so I get to stick around.
You're here. No, you're here. I appreciate though that you were here to prepared to fight for your volunteer job.
Someone has to, right?
We do. Do you have any? You want to jump to something right now? We do have a good question directly for us here.
Please.
All right, Chris King. Hey everyone, Ken and Steve. What are your thoughts on championship parades? Still debating whether I head to the city for the Eagles one tomorrow. I generally don't like parades, but a championship parade. Oh, in the Hall of Champions in New York. I don't know. Don't look up at those papers, Steve. What say ye?
Chris, please go for me. If for nothing else, please go for me. I wish I could go. I took Monday off, like as soon as the Eagles made the Super Bowl, just as a emotional, like mental health day, just in case, whether win or lose. Please go for me. Please go. One of my biggest regrets about the first Eagles Super Bowl is that I didn't go. That talk about being around your people, right? Like that's one of the things that brings cities and communities together. We need so much more of that right now. Yes, please go and just be careful around light poles. That's all.
Be careful. And 8984M says the Dodgers parade was amazing. Don't rub it in, Brady. And then Osvetnik, he not to be Debbie Downer, but it didn't go well for us in KC last year. Yeah, tragedy in Kansas City last year. I'm not laughing at that, but that's one of the reasons I don't go to parades. That's one of the reasons I don't go to large groups. Like, and I mean this seriously. Like, in this political age, the idea of maybe all of us needing to take to the streets and protest is probably an idea I agree with. I get itchy. I'm a former security guy. Large groups, uncontrolled crowds, people angry, and people coming to it's a thing for me. So parades, championship parades, I don't know if I've experienced one, but I love what you're saying. You have a regret of not going in the past. But I mean, look, that was a Doug Peterson championship. This is different now. Osvetnik, I think you got to go. Or not Osvetnik, excuse me. Chris. Sorry. Osvetnik didn't go.
No,
all right, okay.
The first one, man. Doug Peterson, but Jason Kelsey in the mummer costume giving the speech, that was totally epic. Like I wish I could have been there for that, but I'm sure tomorrow's gonna be awesome.
I have no memory of that.
Oh man, look up that YouTube video. That's amazing.
Okay, I will. I didn't watch a lot of football in 2017 though. Wasn't that the Miracle in Miami around that time? I don't know. I can't remember.
That was like Jason Kelce coming out to the non-Eagles fans as like this big, larger than life character kind of person. That moment was him doing that. So
here's the thing I'll say about Jason Kelce. I am primed to not like someone like him that is a little larger than life, is on a team I don't root for, and suddenly has all these media opportunities, including a top-rated podcast. That gets my hackles. Like what the hell does this guy? He doesn't deserve that. I deserve that. I deserve that. My podcast should be the most listened to. Then I listen. I watch him and his wife too. Same with his wife. Now it's a top-rated podcast. I like the dude. I really like the dude. Like he's won me over. He's won me over.
I'll always love Jason Kelce for what he did for my Eagles, and yeah, he's a good entertainer. He's funny. I can tolerate. I'm biased, but I feel like I think he's a little more tolerable than Travis because he's not like quite so over the top. But Travis can be a fun goofball if you can.
Travis he seems like a good intentioned goofball. I love some of the stuff they did on SNL with him. Of the straight white male friend sketch with Bowen Yang. I thought was great. The video sketch. Jason seems to have a little bit more of a personality.
Right. Agreed.
Which is not a comment on Taylor Swift's dating choices. Don't worry about that. But anyways, okay. I didn't even see. Svetnik says, I like the Jason clap back at Brady about a comment that was made about Travis. Okay. Oh, Rich T says Miracle Miami was 2018. Love that. Okay. All right. Okay. Go to the parade. Look, if the Detroit Lions won, Lauren Romo and Laserbolt would be in downtown Detroit tomorrow, holding 2 pans of pizza each and having a great time. So, Chris, you got to go.
Absolutely.
Right. Please. What's up, Steve? What's next?
All right, so just a couple more things. This I wrote up just listening to your call earlier with Jared. If just as for advice for anyone else listening in the chat, if you're ever put in the spot that Ken just put Jared in earlier, where it was like, oh, you had an idea, you're going to come on the call, and then Ken just like, oh, hey, we're not going to do that. Now, what do you want to do? And Jared's like, well, I don't know. This is your show. I just kind of called in. Here's what you do, folks. Here's exactly what you do. Okay, from producer Steve. If you're in a sports setting, just straight up ask the host, hey, should the steroid guys be allowed in the Baseball Hall of Fame? And then now you have time to like, you process. If it's not a sports scenario, then what you do is you go to like, what is your favorite ending of a television show or a movie, and why is The Sopranos one of the worst ones, right? And then while the person is processing that, plan your exit. Now the tables have turned. You can now figure yourself out. That's if you really just need to get yourself out of a spot like that. That's what you go to.
Look, this is why Steve is in the position that he is, folks. I picked up right away. And I've been honest on the show before. I wasn't when Steve started calling on the show here, I wasn't sure who he was. It turns out we had actually met, probably shook hands. We might have even hugged. We took a photo together.
Back there somewhere.
But you blew me away with, you knew how to call into a show, which is one of my little things in life. I have a pet peeve of people who go on shows as guests, like podcasts or sit down interviews on it, and don't know how to act. It's a form of entertainment. Don't be yourself. Be an elevated version of yourself. And that's why I literally wrote you, was like, who are you? Because you know how to do this. Steve, we've got to get you to publish a blathering guide to how to call into shows. You've got to you have like a Rolodex of questions. This is amazing. We're sitting on a gold mine. I don't want to give too much away. We're sitting on a gold mine.
The first time, last time, blathering stories and guidelines, something. We'll work with it.
It just writes itself. It just writes itself.
We got it. So speaking of great radio and stuff, not to pat myself on the back, I do have an idea for a sports segment that I'm cooking up, and I just want to get your thoughts here.
Okay, yeah.
And kind of what you want. So football's over, right? I'm a huge football head, but I love all sorts of sports, right? Okay. And I know that you've kind of been like lukewarm on some other things, specifically basketball. So but you love baseball, which is great. So we're gonna include this. So this is both for you and for the folks viewing, right? I want to do sports speed dating. So the idea is each week on Thursdays, when we would usually do picks in the off season for football, I'll call in with a sports date, and it's going to be a new sport. Every week, we're going to talk about the sport for a few minutes. We're going to introduce each other to it. Even if we already know about it, we'll play the game. And then that week, Producer Steve will do research. I'll bring some stuff to the table next week to give a report on last week's sport and be like, here's what happened in our sports date last week. Here's what we did with that sport.
Okay.
If you're inclined to follow or watch anything with the sport, I would love for you and the people at home to watch the sport for that week. And then the next week, so each week is both a recap of our last sports date. We talk about how much we liked it or not, if it's keeper or not, whatever like that. And then we introduce the sports date for the week following. This is going to burn bright and fast because we're going to run out of sports fairly quickly, but it's something to get us at least to like spring training maybe, or like March Madness. I don't know.
How soon do we get to caber toss? That's the question. That's the
well,
question.
we'll hit the we'll play the hits first. We'll do the big sports first. Basketball, baseball, hockey.
Yeah. Okay.
I got some good things for auto racing, for golf. But like I'm not a huge like. Do you like tennis?
I used to follow tennis regularly in the mid 90s. I used to love tennis to the point like I had a subscription to Tennis Magazine, Steve.
Awesome.
Okay, and my favorite tennis player, I had two favorite tennis players. Let's be honest, it's because it was the 90s. I was single, and I thought I was a rock and roll DJ. I would get to meet one of them, and maybe they'd fall in love with me. I was a big fan of Mary Pierce and Amanda Coetzer, who's South African tennis player, 5'2". Mary Pierce, 5'10". Did I know these stats too closely? Yes, I did. I followed tennis regularly, and then I just stopped.
Well, tennis is a good example. Like I have a very like cursory knowledge of tennis. I would love to learn more. I've heard things are great. So like we pick something like that around a week that maybe a big tennis tournament, like one of the Grand Slams, is going on. So I'll try to canoodle that around. Same thing with golf and like the Masters. But this is we need off season fodder, right? We need some stuff to. Some stuff to fill it in. So
Laserbolt claims in chat here to be a beer pong pro. Do you think Laserbolt is actually a professional beer pong player, or is just really good at grifting people at his bars?
I mean, if you're getting paid to play beer pong regularly, whether it's gambling, grifting, or nefarious means, professional is a loose term, but if you're getting paid to do something, I can make the argument you're a professional.
And we got some great suggestions in chat. That Canadian, our natural enemy, the Canadian Adam Knight, says powerlifting. That's actually, look at, oh my God, Laserbolt says beer pong pays my rent. How do I'd like to pay my rent right now with beer pong. That's curling, chess, darts, esports, a lot of stuff. So Steve, what we might have to do, we might have to find a way to see how we can get suggestions from the audience too. So
of course,
some of the heavy lifting isn't on you. I like.
And again, this is just spaghetti on the wall. This is like a half baked idea. We're just throwing stuff out there. Okay. We got to keep. Yeah, I can make that too, by the way. We got to. I gotta make myself feel useful between now and at least like the draft. That's my next like thing. Maybe we'll do some fun things.
When's the draft? The draft's in April, right?
April. It's usually April, May. The combine's in like 2 weeks. So,
that's what I like about the NFL offseason and the baseball one too. But the NFL one moves fast.
Ooh, good, great quick question then. Of those three, what are your favorite off seasons? Baseball, football. I mean, you don't like basketball, but I'll give a take on that real quick. Go ahead.
I think the baseball one. The baseball off season has the big winter meetings. It has the free agency that's a little more robust. I think the NFL free agency has been improved over the years, but like I'm old enough to remember when like there really wasn't free agency in NFL. There was all that kind of stuff in the late 80s, the like weird phases and all the stuff they kind of introduced. So the baseball one's better. It's the best to me. And then you lead on up to pitchers and catchers and all that kind of stuff. But I do enjoy, now that I'm plugged back in, following like the league year starts on June 1st, and if you release a player before that and this and that, and that's been kind of fun. But baseball for me. But your hot takes on it?
Yeah, no, baseball's good. I would rank it personally: baseball, football, basketball. I am a big basketball guy. Brady's going to agree with me on this one. Basketball has an amazing offseason. Like early July, around 4th of July is awesome for basketball because that's when a lot of like big conspiracy type moves happen and actually things get executed. So, and there's so much drama. Like NBA is such a drama sport, especially in the off season. Right. Like it's, because the teams are so small and there's so many characters. But football is great too. Like, obviously it's the thing with football is it's just so long. The off season is so long and depressing, and it literally just started, but I get to bask in some glory for a little bit. So
no. The football one is long. The football one, it moves. There's a lot of things to it. And I get it. We want to rest those bodies. But the season being so short, it's the shortest of all the big, pro sports season, so it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, it's a long cold winter. Like as a Dolphin fan, this is when I start to unplug a little bit because I can't watch any more think piece videos on what will Tua do next year. Like that's in August. Like I'll worry about it then. So I agree with that. Okay. All right.
So I just have one more thing to get out of here, and then I will go. This is tomorrow's Valentine's Day. So with the sports theme, I just wanted to leave everyone with these are athletes that make me think of Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to rattle these off. Jordan Love, Kevin Love, Davis Love III, Derrick Rose, Jalen Rose, Pete Rose, Bobby Valentine, Lovie Smith. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
It's a great list.
Happy Valentine's to everyone. Take care.
Happy Valentine's to you. Producer Steve there. Great call. See, that's why I wish I had the home run sound effect. Click, home run. All right. Another super chat for a show I'll never watch. Ken and Steve watch DS9. All right. We are going to answer a couple super lathers, but I do got calls to get to. Brady's up. Svetnik's up. But Box Office Jack, again, very generous super chat. Hope you're still here for it. But hope you came back. If you had to leave, hope you come back for this. As I said before, Box Office Jack says, I've been in a creative rut, and while I'm still in a rut in certain places, I'm starting to write again slowly, and I want to thank you for your inspiration. But a question, I guess, what is a show or book series you recommend that isn't well known? I'm trying to think, I'm trying to go to my favorites, and I think it's not a show that, there's one show that comes to mind that is known, and it used to be well known, but I think it's kind of been forgotten. I don't see it talked about. I don't think it is celebrated as much. It also had some things in it that make it stand out against these times, and I mean that in like a bad way towards the show. It was written and produced and presented in a different era, 20 years ago now. But it's Dennis Leary's Rescue Me, which is still one of my all-time favorite shows. And it's still my favorite first season of a show that isn't Star Wars or Game of Thrones or some kind of big high-concept fantasy series. It is Dennis Leary, who had lost a relative in a very famous tragic fire accident where firefighters were killed. He's always been close to the firefighting community. He had a TV show called The Job on ABC. Didn't last long. I don't even think it lasted a year. Got canceled. He comes back with FX and Rescue Me. Again, some things in it, especially later seasons. It's not that maybe they just don't hold up, and it's okay to say that. But it is post 9/11 firefighter trauma, the loss, the city's trauma, and just first responders. And as much as I sometimes have been critical of law enforcement in the past and public safety, a business I was in, an industry I was in, an industry I have a lot of respect for, this show deals with some really powerful things about what it means to be a first responder and what it means to see the kind of things you do, you deal with every day. And it was just fun. It was funny. It was different. So I'll go to Rescue Me, and I'll suggest that. Box Office Jack, maybe you'd like to see it. After that, I go to sitcoms, and I was like, one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. It's just not celebrated as much. It's Wings, man. Come on, we gotta have more conversations about Wings. Was it the crown jewel of the Thursday night lineup on NBC? No, there was always others. Seinfeld, Cheers, the Cosby era, all that stuff. But Wings, man, was a solid Thursday night and NBC lineup. And let's talk about the NBC Thursday night lineup. I know we're in an era of streaming. I don't think we'll ever truly go back to broadcast television as it was, cable television as it was. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. But I think we lose things like that. Wings was a powerhouse on a night that was, you needed to be a powerhouse. And I miss those kind of conversation days. You had the 8 o'clock show. Then you had like that weird 8:30 time slot leading into like a Seinfeld, and what show was going to get that rub from the popular 8 o'clock show, which for years was Cosby. Jonathan Silverman and The Single Guy was a show. Like every year it was like, what's going on Thursdays? on NBC. And when a show like Cheers left, or The Cosby Show left, or Seinfeld left, it was like, what are they going to do? I know there's Friends. Friends kind of emerges, obviously, underneath the shadow of Seinfeld. I miss those kind of conversations as well. So, yeah, I think that's been lost. And fans, news radio. Absolutely love that. And then there's Lauren Roma coming in with the TGIF. I didn't spend a lot of time on TGIF. I apologize for that. All right, Box Office Jack is here. Says, rescue me, know the name, but never seen it. I will definitely check it out with the caveats in mind. Yeah. And I always want to be honest with that. There's just some stuff, and the show took heat for it. There's some stuff in it, but the Dennis Leary's character, Tommy Gavin, it's worth a study. It's a show that is special in my life. So I think you should check that out. So Box Office Jack, I hope that answered your question. I think David Aspo says the double-decker shit sandwich, according to News Radio Critter, wasn't allowed on Thursday. That's right. News Radio was effed around with too. News Radio, one of my favorites. Unfortunately, led to the rise of one of the biggest podcasters in the world. But I absolutely love that show. Big Dave Foley fan, big Phil Hartman fan, big Maura Attorney fan. She was great as well. So there we go. MASH is GOAT. Jared, I know your age, but I'm still going to say you're too young for that answer. There we go. All right. Also, we got Laserbolt. I'm going to take his question here in a bit. If you have one more... if you have a question you want to get into Super Blather, you have one more chance to do it here. One more chance. All right, I'm going to take some calls. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. Yes, I am. All right, he's been waiting patiently. He went to the Dodgers championship parade. He also accused me of thinking that the earth is just going to implode on command. It's 8984M, a.k.a. Brady, a.k.a. Kyrie. How you doing, my friend?
Hi. It's been raining. Wait, the rain just stopped, actually. I just noticed that.
Did it?
Yeah.
I'm still soaking wet from stepping outside to unclog that drain.
No, man, it's been pouring. Like
it has been.
I'm from Houston originally, and there were some downpours, and this feels like a Houston downpour.
I'm telling you, I saw the warnings, I saw the reports. Yesterday it rained kind of more. You woke up, the rain was done. I went and delivered food last night, no problem, like nothing. Tonight it was crazy. My backyard's a lake right now.
Yeah, and I feel like in California we don't build good enough umbrellas.
No, umbrellas.
Also,
streets,
roads in general too. Yeah,
intersections. No, it's not. I stepped outside the drains in the front yard, and my street is a actual working river right now. It might be a little less right now. Brady, I want to know what your question is or your thoughts tonight, but I also need to know, what did you do at the Dodgers championship parade?
I did a lot. I saw a lot. I saw people climbing on places they normally wouldn't.
Hooligans.
There was a couple of stopped trucks, garbage trucks. A lot of Yankee shit talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and,
I heard you. I heard you slowly work that in there.
Hey, that was not me. I'm too young for the Yankee shit talking. I don't have that beef. I know older fans do. They remember Reggie Jackson. From the 70s.
Do you remember that, Brady? 3 home
No.
runs? 3 home runs in one game off your precious Dodgers? Bert Hooton, Charlie Huff, Bob Welch, maybe? I think was the last one. I can't remember.
There was an old timer I was talking to. He was telling me, you should hate the Yankees because they did that too. The Yankees have a winning record against the Dodgers. It'd always be Dodgers Yankees in the World Series, and the Dodgers would always lose. This is like the Yankee, not the Lakers Celtics before the Lakers and Celtics was a thing.
Yes. Oh yeah. This is going back to New York. Brooklyn Dodgers, they got one win. What was that? 55, 56, they got one win. But we, because I played for the Yankees in the 50s, destroyed them. And then back-to-back in 78 and 77. But then the last 2 have gone to the Dodgers, 81 and now this past year. So, Steve says this, holy bleep. The kids don't even remember the Yankees being good. We are baseball. We are baseball.
Hey, you know what A-Rod said recently? The Dodgers are the New York Yankees of baseball.
Yeah, okay. I got some thoughts
But
on A-Rod. I got some thoughts on that guy. Okay. But I think that's
he's wrong.
Okay. Okay. All right. Asked and answered. You got some history lessons. You know what, Brady? I don't know if you're looking for employment right now, but I happen to know because I'm looking on job boards every day. The Dodgers are hiring tour guides for their stadium. You should apply. You should apply. You just have you just have to be available. It's like a part-time on-call job, so it doesn't work for what I need right now in life. But you should apply. They're looking for tour guides.
Wow, that's probably a bad job for me because I've never been to Dodger Stadium, but that does sound interesting.
All right. When I get back up on my feet here and the blathering takes over the world, Brady, it's my intention to take you to Dodger Stadium. Okay.
Oh, I'd be honored. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'd love that, yeah.
And to see a baseball game, not to see Lady Gaga. The last time I've been to Dodger Stadium was to see Lady Gaga, and I hope to see her again, and I hope to see her again at Dodger Stadium. But we'll go to a baseball game. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think I've ever been to a baseball game either.
This is problematic. It's fine. You know what? My big confession, I have never been to a professional football game. Been to some college football games, not been to a professional football game. And quite frankly, don't necessarily have the desire to. Because, it'd be fun. Yeah, blah, blah. Food, blah, 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 blah. I love watching the NFL on my couch. There, I said it. I stand by it. So there you go.
Also, the NFL TV production is so good. Like, they explain everything to you. Yeah.
See?
Why go to a game?
Jared, the Tide Pilot, is saying, come to Fenway. Let me ask you this question, Brady. Do you want to watch a baseball game in a tinderbox? Huh? Do you want to watch a baseball game in this tiny little thing where they serve chowder and the seats are from 1912? Go to Yankee Stadium, okay? Or Dodger Stadium. All right, Brady. Go ahead.
I do hear Yankee Stadium food is really good, though. Like, unlike Dodger Stadium food, which I hear is not so good.
Right now, they changed the Dodger dogs from Farmer John's. They have I don't think they have King Taco anymore. They changed. The vendors change, unfortunately. But I used to love getting Dodger Stadium food. But now I will say Anaheim for years had better food. Anaheim was the first stadium I went to where I could order from my seats. This is a while ago. And you get like sushi rolls and all that kind of stuff. And I like that. I do love a Dodger dog. I do love a hamburger in my hands. I like meat sitting in my hands hot on a baseball game day. Clip that out. But Angel Stadium had better food. So I agree with that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
all right.
And speaking of like sports and history, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to shout out Cal first for bringing up Black History Month.
Kingsport
Cal. We got to keep on talking about it because Google does not want us to know.
Google erased all the months. Yep.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, that's even more reason to keep talking about it. And I just wanted to say this past Super Bowl was the Super Bowl for Black History Month. Like, right. Wow. I really wish I could have called on the Monday show, though. It was probably full. But show. Man, the halftime show. I'm a big John Baptiste fan, and he made the national anthem sound great. Like the national anthem is a song. I'll leave it at that. But he made it something to listen to. And then
I hear what you're saying.
And then I really liked how this is like a sign. He said "Land of the Free" 3 times with a certain someone in attendance.
Oh yeah. We did the big Kendrick breakdown on Monday, thanks to Jared, the Dark Jedi, calling in for the Nerd Academy podcast. But and absolutely right. And I think a Super Bowl of a complicated league, we'll say, the NFL, but I think it was of its time in the best of ways. On and off.
Yeah. And then Kendrick saying in the lyrics, 40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've always interpreted like this current his performance of Not Like Us, not just a target at Drake, but someone else who was probably left early, you know? But a lot of things in that song could be said of him.
Yes. Oh, the president left early. He didn't stick around. He didn't stick around. Yeah. Why would he?
He wouldn't have gotten the show anyway.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, but that's the thing. And I know we did the big breakdown on Monday, but um, the Super Bowl itself and Kendrick Lamar pissed off the right people, and that's a
Mhm.
good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
The
And
media
even
illiterate right.
with the person winning Super Bowl MVP,
Mm-hmm.
like this is something that's like if you know, you know. If Pat Mahomes won, he would have been like God bless kind of guy. Jalen
Yes.
Hurts said, "God is good." If you know,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
You
know, you
know,
know.
you know.
Great point. Great point, Brady. Love
Yeah.
this.
And just
Did-
to tie it up, I wanted to highlight some foods
Please.
by Black Americans.
Okay.
Some American foods that we may not know. So to
Hmm.
start, we have sweet tea. This is kind of obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Invented by Marion Cabell Tyree. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Sweet tea. Her recipe included green tea and some lemon and sugar, and she wrote like the original Southern recipe book.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically a lot of Southern food comes from that recipe book.
Gotta look that up. Yeah, who doesn't love a good sweet tea at Whataburger? You're from
Mhm.
Houston, you know. That's amazing.
Okay, I gotta say Whataburger. It ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, I was in Houston for the Schmodown, and yeah, there was a lot of complaints, but I don't hold that against the brand
Yeah.
or the region or the city.
And then another thing, peanut butter. I think this is more well known. It was popularized by George Washington Carver.
Yep.
And he was the original ecologist kind of guy. He kind of created the concept of like growing specific plants for the soil conditions instead of just growing
Right.
for profit.
Imagine that.
And
Yeah. Absolutely.
it's a misconception that he invented peanut butter because peanut butter has been around for a while, but he definitely popularized it and made it like a popular American thing.
Of what we have, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
And then
That's
one
great.
last thing before I make my call too long. This is something that people don't actually know as much. It's mac and cheese. At least the American version of mac and cheese. It was invented. Well, it was Americanized by James Hemings, who was enslaved by Thomas Jefferson, and he adapted the French recipe because Thomas Jefferson, he was a big French guy, and he actually made it in Monticello, and his version was baked. As we know in like the Southern tradition, like is mac and cheese is baked, and he was the originator of that.
That's a hero of mine then.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole on that on Hemmings, and of course, the Hemmings name.
yeah. Oh, Hemings, yeah, the older brother of Sally Hemings too.
Yeah. America, but that's a pinprick of light in a bad situation because mac and cheese fuels me. So
Yeah.
that's great. Brady, I love that you did that. I absolutely love that you did that. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, and also like I think as a person who's a minority in this country, I feel like the minority communities, like especially the Asian American community, like a lot of the things that we take for granted is because of the hard work of the Black community in the 60s and before that. And I think people need to recognize that.
It's what I call the real history of things. That's why you hear me talk about history and the real history. As complicated as it can be, as tough as it can be to pay attention, but also the true stories that just get lost to time or never shared to time. I never passed on. Brady, that's a home run of a call. See, I wish I had that soundtrack. Home run of a call. LQ says 100%. And Fake Nerd Podcast. I love that mac and cheese fact. Great. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole on that because
it was good history.
There's a good chance after this I have to run to the store to get some Band-Aids for something, and I think I'm just gonna pick up some mac and cheese. Do it in honor.
Thanks, James Hemings.
James Hemings. Brady, you're always the best. Thank you for calling in. I tease. You know you're one of my favorites, and we're gonna get to Dodger Stadium.
Yes, one of these days.
There you go, Brady calling in. We're almost done with the show, but I got one more call lined up. I got one more question to answer. Actually, a couple questions to answer because I got that one as well. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Malcolm with the super chat. Oh, I'm going to answer all these today. But we're going to get Ethan, a.k.a. Osvetnik, on the show right now. Osvetnik1138. I've always said, I don't even know if I say that right, but my
You're doing
grandma's
great.
my grandma's Russian tongue comes out. Osvetnik. Kenny,
No.
eat.
Absolutely
how,
perfect.
how you doing, buddy? What's on your mind
I'm
tonight?
doing great.
Yeah?
I'm doing
what's cooking?
great.
Mhm.
Well, I should say I'm doing a lot better than I was on Sunday evening. Because it was not great for me and my Chiefs.
Yeah,
But
Kansas City fan
I am
calls in,
happy for
and
all
I
of the
appreciate it.
yeah.
When
Yeah.
did you?
I'm happy for all of you Philly fans, though.
When did? Yeah, that's good. And you've been nice, and I've seen you in chat. You're just so nice. You're just a nice Kansas City fan. It's regional. It's got it. It's in your blood. When I've been asking this of the Philly fans, when did you know, and when did you feel in your gut this ain't happening, and how did you deal with it?
Well, so going into halftime, obviously things were not great, but we've
Not great.
seen Patrick Mahomes and come out of halftime and turn things around. So
Right.
everybody at my house was like, okay, you know what? Not great, but let's see what happens after halftime. A couple of minutes into the third quarter, it just didn't
Not looking.
seem like anything had changed in the locker room.
Right.
And the moment that that I at least felt like the last nail in the coffin was in is when my 8-year-old turned to me and said, man, we are getting demolished.
From the
And I
mouths
was
of
like,
babes.
yep.
Yeah.
Yes, we are, son. Yes, we are. And you're going to learn a valuable lesson tonight about
You're gonna
sometimes you lose, and that's okay.
You're going to learn about loss, son. You're going to learn about loss.
Yeah.
That's
But
yeah, no, look, I ask, I know just it's weird as football fans, even more over baseball. Though baseball, you kind of know, I kind of had a feeling in the World Series, but I hadn't watched the Yankees as close. But in the 90s, like 2001 against the Diamondbacks, I just knew we were going to lose that series. It just didn't feel right. Nothing felt right. And we wanted them to win. It was 9/11 connections, all that kind of stuff. I just had a feeling. I just knew the moment in that ninth inning, well before the Louis Gonzalez hit. I think it was the Womack double going through baseball history. Well, football, it's even more emotional for me. And I can even tell, even though I took a few years off of watching the Dolphins regularly, and it's a different coaching regime. Hell, it's a different ownership from when I watched as a youngster. You just are connected with your teams enough to know. I remember that Monday night game last season, 2023 season, with the Dolphins looking good, racing towards the division title. Monday night, Tennessee, they're kicking the Titans' ass, and then we end up losing that game. And I remember someone in the third quarter, I went, oh, we're going to lose this game. You just had a feeling. You could see it. So I'm always curious if other football fans feel that. And it seems as though at least your 8-year-old did.
yeah,
And that's important.
Yeah. Yep. He is a pretty intuitive kid. He figured it out pretty quick.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're licking your wounds. And, the team has a pretty good chance of getting back to things again next year.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. It'll be all right.
Indeed. Thanks for the call, buddy. Anything else on your mind?
Well, I thought I'd share a little something. So
Please.
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
It is yes, a very corporate hallmark holiday, but it
Sure.
does commemorate something very good in all of our lives. Our love that we have for our significant others, our families, what have you.
Yep.
And a couple of weeks back, I can't remember how there was a whole conversation about smashed burgers versus regular burgers, big, huge, hamburgers. And it got me thinking about the moment that I knew that my wife was the one. So we had been on a few dates at that point, but I was still feeling kind of skittish, you could say.
Okay.
And we had we had some friends that were a couple, and they asked us if we wanted to go, to dinner, double date. We were like, sure, sounds great. So we went to this restaurant, kind of upper scale, not like anything majorly fancy, but had a nice spread of whatever you would want on the menu. Our friends were vegetarians, or at least one of them was. The other one was just kind of trying it out because he was a vegetarian,
Mm.
And my wife ordered a hamburger, and this thing came out, and it was huge, and it was dripping.
It was offensive.
Dripping the
It was
grease,
graphic.
dripping. Yeah, like it was an offensive hamburger to
Right,
those who would find
right.
it offensive. And without any shame or anything, she demolished this thing. And I looked at her, I thought, I think I love this woman.
There it is. That's impressive. Now, do you celebrate
Yeah.
this every year on Valentine's Day or your anniversary by just ordering the biggest, juiciest hamburgers you can find?
We celebrate that any time there is a burger involved.
That's great.
That's
great.
I like to bring it up to her a lot. But
That's
I
wonderful.
figure with Valentine's Day and food being a cornerstone of this show, I thought, you know what, this is a story to share.
That is the most romantic story I've ever heard, Svetnik. All right, Ethan. that is amazing. Producer Steve says he's totally taking credit for this. I agree. I love it. Well, tomorrow, do me a favor. You guys got to have some big juicy hamburgers. You got to go out to bring them back, order in, whatever. You got to do it. You got to do it for the Blathering community.
That's the plan.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Have a great night, Ken.
Thank you, Ethan. Ethan Svetnik calling in. He's a Chiefs fan, but you still gotta love him. I love that story. I love those little things, man. I love those little things where you just kind of know. I remember Grace and I had been, office place friendship turned, hey, maybe it could be. And I was kind of like, I'm going to go hang out at your house. Let's have a little date. Let's do this, which was very rare for me. I normally wasn't that forward. And walked up to her house, and true story, the God you believe in is my witness. I walked up. She had a little gate to get into the little house she lived in, and a little white picket fence kind of gate. And I put my hand on the gate, and I said to myself, you cross this gate, you go past this threshold here, your life will change forever. A little voice in my head said that, 100% clear. And it has. It has. 3 doggies later, 8 years later, here we are. Life is good. And we're going to celebrate tomorrow with Valentine's Day. Though I do have a show tomorrow night. I'm excited. We got a couple questions I'm going to answer here in chat. And I do want to highlight, if you're still with me and maybe you haven't decided to support becoming a channel member here, you can support by becoming a channel member and getting to call into the show. You can also become a Patreon member at patreon.com/KenNapsuck. I just put up a new comedy set there. I had a set a couple Fridays ago, and I liked the set, and I bought the set. We comics have to buy the sets from these clubs. It's a racket, but it's a great little set, and I put a little blog about it too. So I'm going to do that from time to time. Beyond just sharing the stuff, I want to maybe go through the process and not only document my stand-up comedy journey for all of you, a journey that began in 2003 and stopped and came back and stopped and came back. I use it as kind of accountability to say for myself of I'm constantly improving, constantly looking to become a better comic. And if I share the journey with all of you, it's there. And you can get that by becoming a Patreon member if you want. Yes, Jared. Yes. WTF, you have to buy your own show. Yes, most clubs. Now, if you're the Comedy Store and you're regular at the Comedy Store, they finally got some cameras up. There's place for you to put your phone, but it's not the greatest footage, and the sound is from your phone and everything like that. But a lot of comedy clubs saw what was happening with comics bringing their own cameras, and the cameras getting better, the phones getting better, and then the clips going viral, and the clips making many comedy careers. And then the clubs were like, well, we need a charge on that. So that's pretty common there. Oh, Rich T, did you just buy a copy of the book? Did you buy it through the website, or did you buy it on a spot? I love that. Thank you, Rich T. First Rate Nate says, by the way, hi, First Rate Nate, one of the nicest individuals I know, who has been so generous to me over the years that I sometimes can't even think about it because it humbles me. First Rate Nate says, I had filet mignon and lobster in my shopping cart at Costco this evening, which usually cook for my wife since it's on sale, but I ended up getting corned beef and potatoes since it's rough. All right. She's going to be happy either way. Corey's here. Corey had a great call on Monday. Thanks for Super Chat. Let's get to some of these questions here. So Rich T had this one here first. Rich T says, Ken, from your POV as a comic, that means point of view. From your POV, can't even say it right. POV as a comic, is there a certain day of the week and or time of day that is best to see a comedy show? Without knowing the performers, is there insider's advice? If you're asking from the sense of if you're going to a club, people are in town, you're going to go see a comedy show, you definitely Friday, Saturday nights. Pew Pew View. Thank you, Elizabeth. Friday, Saturday nights are going to be the biggest ones. If it's it's different here in LA, but other big cities as well too. To be clear, New York, Boston, big stand-up scenes there, obviously, and bigger in some ways than LA. But if you're going to like Laugh Factory, Improv, or Comedy Store, almost any night's going to be great over there. You're going to be good to go. Flappers in Burbank, a lot of the shows, you're going to be good to go. There's other nights where, maybe it's a different kind. It's a showcase night, but I think in general you're safer to go on Friday, Saturday from an audience standpoint. From a comedian standpoint, I used to when I just got, like I said, I just got booked tonight. I'm going to be a Friday night at Flappers Valentine's Day show in the main room. It's going to be fun. I think you're going to have a lot of people there. It's going to be a good time. But there's a lot of times as a comic that if you're not booked. And I'm talking about clubs in terms of comedy clubs. If you're not booked on a Friday or Saturday in the big room, in the main room, you kind of have this you feel like you've been less than, and that's not true. Some of the best shows I've had are in the smaller venues at Flappers. Improv has the Improv Lab. Comedy Store, Belly Room, upstairs in the Comedy Store is a place called the Belly Room, which is a tiny venue. It's my favorite room there at the Comedy Store. The energy, it's up front. It's wonderful. It's been years since I think performed it last in 2019 with Mark Ellis on a Mark Ellis and Friends show. It's great. So as a comic, I've learned that anytime, any day. Flappers runs a lot of Sunday at 5 p.m. shows, and those I used to look down on, and I stopped that because one night I went there and there was 2 or 3 people in the audience. And it was one of those why are we doing comedy Sunday at 5 p.m.? No one's here. And then I went down, I sat down and had a conversation with those 3 or 4 people, and it was a great show. So, as I said, as a comic, you never want to blame the audience, but sometimes audiences just have a vibe, have a mood. It's not their fault. It sometimes doesn't work, but you never want to blame the show. But as an audience member, Rich T, definitely head on out to Friday or Saturdays. First Rate Nate says, just had to retire my Ken knapsack. What we love about Star Wars keychain is it was missing several letters and changed color. I think I'm out of them, First Rate Nate, but I'll tell you what, if I have another one, I'll check my things, First Rate Nate. I'll send one to you. I owe you about 200 of them, but I'm going to send that to you. Oh, so Steve. Steve was at a smallish venue. Saw Mark at Kenna Mark at a smallish venue in DC, and it was amazing. It was cozy. Yeah, great venue. I can't remember. I can't remember which one you went to, Steve. You have to remind me of the year. Was that the year Christian Ruvacabo was filming? What's scary is, Steve, we got to get back out there. I'm a better comic than I was back then. First Renee says, I still have the signed one in plastic. Well, God bless you. Addie just bought tickets to a comedy show today. Oh, where are you going, Addie? Richie says, I got off the major internet retailer. Should I cancel it and get off a direct link from you? The only difference, if you go to my website, if you already got one, Rich, you're okay. But if you go to my website, I do charge a bigger amount because I got to ship it to you. But it'll be personalized. Whatever is in your order, I sign it and I throw in a little something for you and send it to you. But by all means, don't worry about it. Steve says, I think it was late 2019. Oh, yeah. No, that was Alex Edmond. Yeah, that was that's the only venue I've been at in DC. We performed there like 2 or 3 years, and that was a good show. Those are good shows. Those are good shows. I'm a better comic than I was then. It's such a comic thing to say. There you go. Okay, so thank you, Rich D. Great question. Malcolm says, hey, Ken, here's an unserious question for unserious times. When did you decide you would be a beard guy, and how did you decide how long it would be? Does a beard give you new gravitas? Yes. So I decided early on, I decided to be a beard guy at the end of high school. I had the ability to grow facial hair that other people did not in my group. Like in 7th grade, occasionally on Force Center, you'll hear me make a reference to like a little wispy 7th grade mustache. That's because I had one. Like I had to start shaving like 6th grade. But my beard didn't come in. I used to have a little bit of a natural Abe Lincoln beard. It's still a little light up here. I don't get a lot of growth up here on the cheeks. And if you're listening to the audio version, I am currently a grown man grabbing my cheeks on camera. So I started to grow the beard, went into radio, grew the hair long, had hair down to my belt, all that stuff. This is like 94, 95, 96 range. Then I cut it to look like Noel Gallagher of Oasis, though Noel said some stupid stuff about Kendrick Lamar's performance this week, because that's what Noel Gallagher does. But then I moved to LA, got the job in security in October of 1998, and I had to shave. It was the rules. They had unless it was a mustache, it was in the employee handbook. So I was beardless, facial hairless, because I wasn't just going to grow a mustache for a very long time. But then I started, 2004 or 5, I got taken out of uniform. I was the director of public safety at the Farmers Market, 3rd and Fairfax in Los Angeles, the property in which the Grove sits. And they took me out of uniform. And so then once I was out of uniform, holy crap, I could grow facial hair. So I had like a goatee. Now I'll jump back in the story. This is boring for everyone, but this facial hair talk gets me excited. In the 90s, I would change it often. So I didn't just have one look. So I'd grow a big beard, but I didn't know how to maintain it. Beard care wasn't as popular there. So it was a little splotchier, I'd wash it, but I didn't trim it. But then I'd have a goatee, and then I'd go back and forth. Occasionally, if it was fun, I'd go with a mustache for about 3 days and then be like, that's horrible. So then, yeah, and Addie has a question here. What is it with security / police and mustaches? It's the only thing they can grow for the most part. There's been a movement, and like my old security company had strict facial hair rules, but now I went back to the location I worked at, and they have guards with beards now, which I think is a good thing. But I get upset that they get to do that. I literally got in trouble for having a mustache too long. It kind of comes from military, where if you're going to put a gas mask on or a mask on, it doesn't seal as well. That's kind of where it starts. But I think a lot of it is tied to an old school 1950s into 60s, only hippies grow beards kind of mentality, which is why I fought against it as well. But anyways, long story short, I spent 17 years in a career in which, for the most part, I could not have facial hair. Other than like 2 years, I was able to have a goatee. Then I went back to another location, and I had to shave, which I was in a suit, and it was ridiculous that I had to shave, and I was in a suit. The moment I got out, 2015, to go to Screen Junkies, I started growing the beard, and other than a few little weird occasions, like when I had to shave it for a Wanger short film, I've been having the beard. And yes, it gives me a little bit of gravitas. It gets a little unruly. Sometimes I have a good cleft in my chin. I have a good chin. Sometimes I miss the chin. And then as the grays come in, I don't know, you just kind of own it. And I was close to maybe shaving it. Gray was starting to come in, and then Mark Hamill's beard. And I've talked to his son Nathan about this. Friends with Nathan Hamill, said your dad's beard inspired me in 2015 or 2014, leading up to Force Awakens. He'd come out with this beard, and once I was able to grow my own beard, and the gray was there, I stuck with it because of Mark Hamill. So there you go. No beards or your gas mask won't fit. True fact from World War I. People like me way more now that I have a beard. Yes, I don't like them more, but whatever. Great answer, Alan. Yeah, and what's funny too is growing up in the 80s, the best example of this, and this show, God, it's almost 2 hours. It's been fun hanging out with you all tonight. Die Hard, the character Ellis. That guy and his beard, he's painted as kind of a bad guy. In the 80s, there was a weird thing with beards, I thought. I grew up not liking guys. And like, every time I saw a guy with a beard, I was like, wow, that is outdated. That is old. Richard Chamberlain, famous, had a good beard, everything. There was I forget the actor's name, but there's the dude in Staying Alive, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever, with John Travolta, Finola Hughes, and there was the director of the Broadway play that John Travolta was on, and Finola Hughes was the lead and all this kind of stuff. Check it out. He had a beard too, and he was kind of the bad guy. So in the 80s, if you had a beard, you were kind of the bad guy. They didn't look as good. It wasn't hip to have a beard like that. I think that's changed. And then we got the beard culture has returned in a big way. Sometimes it's a little bit too broy for me, and sometimes I regret having. I look like a lot of podcasters, but I'm happy. Yeah, and 884M says, I remember when George Lucas shaved his beard. That didn't happen much, but when it did, it's freaky. And that's what will happen with me. I'm worried with some of the jobs. There's a job I'm in the running for that I'm like, they might have weird facial hair policies. So as I look for work here, until the blathering takes over the world, and it's going to take over the world, I'm worried that the beard would have to go, and I won't know what to do. Yeah, Laserbolt, who's got a great head of hair and a beard and cooks meats in the wilderness, says, my whole life people told me that nobody will take you seriously unless they cut my hair. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. Addie says 2 hours had to go back. We're wrapping up because I gotta go get some stuff. Yes, I had that too. The long hair, beard, no one takes it seriously. It's a fallout from counterculture. All right, but Laserbolt had the final question of the night here. Laserbolt, again, super generous super chat, says, super blathers, we call him here. Hey, buddy, you spent some time on the road. Tell us the funniest road trip story. Is Ellis a good travel partner? See, I've thought about this in the back of my head the whole night. Mark and I don't have any wild travel stories in terms of comedy. As a kid, we had a Volkswagen van that broke down in Fresno on the way to Yosemite. That wasn't great. One time, my friend Paul and his wife and another friend of ours, Ernie, who kind of reminds me of you, Laserbolt, in a great way. We went up to a wedding in Reno, and on the way back, my friend Paul, he might have trouble admitting this, a little bit of a stubborn guy. And we were like, you're running out of gas. We should stop for gas. We should stop for gas. We should stop for gas. And he didn't. And we were in his like Toyota 4Runner, all four of us, suitcases. We'd gone to a wedding for like 3 days in Reno. We rolled down the windows. We turned off the AC, turned off the power. We were close to jettisoning the suitcases, but we were like in like the Mojave. We were like, you take the 395 down the back of California on the backside of Vegas. We were on a stretch of road where if our car had run out of gas, we were there for a bit, like a long time, like maybe even hours to overnight. And we were looking at, and we didn't have cell phone footage or cell phone coverage. And we were like looking, and we found like a gas station on the map. And I was like, here it is. And we'd like coasted into the gas station. It was one pump. I'm not lying. It was one pump. We pull in there. We get out. Oh, we made it. And we realize as we get out, the pump is locked. The place is abandoned and probably had been abandoned for years, but yet was still showing up on the map. So we laughed because we all thought we were going to die. And we were able to get the car started. And we found a gas station a couple miles away and somehow miraculously got there. That's not the travel story maybe you were asking in terms of comedy and stuff, but that's the wildest adventure I've had. But in terms of comedy, here's the thing. Your second part of that question, is Mark Ellis a good travel partner? Mark Ellis is the best travel partner. He is so seasoned. I'm a really good flyer. I'm a really good traveler, but I do get weird anxieties of the unknown, or if I don't know what's going on, I'll hang back. I get a little anxieties there. And I have a little bit of anxiety of getting to the airport. I just want to get through the gate. Once I'm through the gate, I calm down and my travel is fine. I'm a little tense on the way there. Mark is the calmest of flyers, the calmest of travelers. Always has a way out. And he's taught me how to travel because I didn't travel as a kid. So you don't need to worry unless it's something specific in terms of your own medication. You don't have to worry. If you forgot something, there's a hotel lobby that can sell you that. There's a CVS around the corner. And when we go travel, we know we usually both show up to the airport with notes. Oh, there's a Dunkin' Donuts around the corner. There's a gym over here. There's a CVS there or Walgreens if we need it there. So we have your bases covered. And so, unfortunately, Elizabeth, I don't think there's any wild stories because Mark and I are so in control. And usually when we're in large groups, like we were at a wedding a travel wedding, not too far, but a travel wedding in October this year, everyone gravitated towards us as the anchor, both at the wedding and at the hotel. We just kind of know how to do it. And I learned that from Mark. He's the best of travelers. The weirdest thing that happened is we were flying to DC the year that Steve saw us, and I'm almost out of here. We've hit 2 hours. Yeah, and First Reddit says it's great. Everyone needs a Mark Ellison in their lives. They do. Do you guys sneak weed gummies in the States? There ain't no weed gummies. I don't do any illicit drugs, which is true. Other people I know might, Alan Smithy, and they might sneak them in melatonin jars. That show, Steve, the shows you saw us in 2019, that's the year. We had 2 separate flights. So Mark got his flight. He was on a different flight. He flew out maybe an hour before. And Christian Ruvalcaba and I, because he was going to record the shows, we flew out from LAX, and an hour into it, we land in Phoenix, and they say, the thing was, fuel came everything. But that was the year, and I've maybe told the story before. I always say this, look to the flight attendants, right? Look to the flight attendants. If you think if the turbulence is too much or there's something weird going on, look to the flight attendants. If they don't care, if they're serving their drinks, they're not nervous, you know that they've been through this 50 million times. On this particular flight, something was weird. You could hear whispering. Christian Ruvalcaba kind of towards the back of the plane. You heard just rustling, and then the flight attendants were nervous. And then we had an announcement, we're going to land in Phoenix there. We've got just a minor fuel problem, slight delay. We'll be back in the air shortly. All the lights in the plane came on. Like it was like a late night flight. Boom. All the lights came on. And flight attendants were kind of going up and down in a weird way. And I was looking at Christian Ruvalcaba. I was like, something's wrong. So he starts, I forget what, I don't want to say it I don't want to indict the wrong airline. Christian Ruvalcaba brings out his phone and he starts looking up the particular airlines and he goes, whoa. Like some of the flights they've been reporting weird smells in the cockpit. One caused even a pilot to pass out. And this is like, it's in the news. And we're like, oh no. And then like, we're trying not to tell other people, but other people are reacting to this. And so they landed. Not making this up. We landed in Phoenix, 2 a.m. or whatever it was. No, it was earlier, but we were ended up being there all night, like 12 hours in the airport. As we're deboarding and everything's normal. Hey, welcome to Phoenix. Could you mind getting off the plane just for a second? Just get off the plane. And then they finally explain, hey, this plane's not good to fly. We're gonna have to find you other flights. All chaos erupts. Everyone's upset. I felt sorry for the gate agents because there's like the Phoenix airport was closed. As we're walking down and to board the plane, Christian Ruvalcaba and I hear there's a safety person from the airline company in there, in the cockpit, flight deck, whatever they want to call it. I don't care, Sean Duffy. And we hear one of the pilots say, that's what I'm saying. That's what it smelled like. And so whatever that problem was, that was the problem. And we spent all night in the Phoenix airport, got there the next day. Almost missed the shows, but we're able to tell jokes at that venue. All right. So Laserbolt, I got no wild stories. Mark and I tell you, Mark Ellis and I are the most boring travelers. Everything's in control unless the airline messes it up. After the shows, we'll maybe get a drink or two, but now we just go back to the hotel room and watch documentaries. While having like potato chips and Coors Light. We're the most boring of travelers. And I like that. All right, everybody. 2 hours. 2 hours. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the support. We're going to do it again Saturday. Good, bad food. I can't wait for Jared to come back on. More things on the way. More things on the way. Thanks for your support. Means a lot. See everybody. Bye.